Smoke and mirrors. Captain Maya Reed stared at the tactical display, her weathered face illuminated by the blue glow. 5 crew members, 1 ship, and the entirety of human resistance against the Selnar Collective now rested on their shoulders. The Arcturus colony fell yesterday, Lieutenant Davis reported, his voice hollow. Earth's blockaded. Mars is under siege. We're all that's left of the 5th Fleet. Maya nodded grimly. The Mirage, a mid-sized corvette designed for reconnaissance, was never meant to be humanity's last hope, but that Selnar had systematically dismantled humanity's defenses over the past 3 months, their superior numbers and technology overwhelming colony after colony. They've pushed us to the edge of extinction, Chief Engineer Sato said, breaking the heavy silence. What can 5 people in 1 ship possibly do against an empire that spans 17 star systems? Maya's lips curled into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. We can lie. Magnificently. The crew exchanged confused glances. The Mirage was a prototype, remember. Maya swept her hand across the tactical display, zooming out to show the nearby Epsilon sector. We were testing the next generation of holographic projection technology when the war broke out. Davis's eyes widened with realization. You want to create phantom ships. Captain, even with the most advanced projectors, the Selnar sensors will see through it instantly. Not if we combine it with the autonomous drone program. Maya nodded to Sato. We have 17 combat drones in storage. Small, virtually undetectable when powered down. Each one capable of broadcasting false sensor readings. You're suggesting we create the illusion of an entire fleet. Communications specialist Zhao looked skeptical. Not just any fleet. Maya's eyes gleamed with determination. A fleet large enough to make the Selnar reconsider their conquest. Over the next 72 hours, the crew worked tirelessly. Sato and the ship's AI reprogrammed the drones while Davis modified the holographic arrays. Zhao analyzed Selnar communication patterns to ensure their deception would hold up under scrutiny. Dr. Keller, their xenobiologist and reluctant weapons officer, provided critical insight. That Selnar evolved as ambush predators. They're psychologically inclined to avoid confrontation with superior numbers. If we can convince them they're outmatched, their instinct will be to retreat and reassess. As the final preparations were completed, Maya gathered her crew on the bridge. We're about to attempt something that's never been done before. If we fail, humanity falls. If we succeed, we might just save our species with smoke and mirrors. They deployed near the Vega Corridor, a strategic choke point that Selnar needed to maintain their supply lines. The drones were launched first, each one taking position in a precise formation that would maximize the effectiveness of their deception. Selnar patrol fleet detected, Davis announced, his voice tight with tension. 3 warships, 2 support vessels. They'd spotted us. Perfect timing. Maya took a deep breath. Activate Operation Phantom. Sato initiated the sequence. Holographic projectors at maximum capacity. Drone emitters activated. Outside the Mirage, space itself seemed to warp and shimmer. Where there had been empty void, 27 warships now appeared, each one bearing the insignia of Earth's supposedly destroyed fleet. The drones broadcast false sensor readings, creating the impression of functioning ships with crews, weapon systems, and power signatures. Selnar vessels are scanning us, Zhao reported. They're sending authentication requests. Send the response packages we prepared, Maya ordered. Let's see if they take the bait. For 3 agonizing minutes, the crew held their breath. The Selnar continued their scans, probing the Phantom fleet for any sign of deception. They're communicating with their command, Zhao said, listening through the intercepted transmissions. They're reporting a human battle group of unknown classification. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Now for Phase 2. Davis, have our Phantoms begin tactical maneuvers. Make it look like we're preparing to flank them. The holographic ships moved with perfect coordination, appearing to deploy into an offensive formation. On the tactical display, they watched as the Selnar patrol ships adjusted their position, clearly uncertain about how to respond to the unexpected threat. "They're backing off," Davis reported, disbelief in his voice. "They're actually retreating." "They're requesting reinforcements," Zhao added, sending detailed scans of our fleet back to their command. The crew exchanged shocked glances. Their desperate gambit had worked, at least initially. "Don't celebrate yet," Maya cautioned. "This was the easy part. Now we need to convince their high command that humanity has been holding back a reserve fleet all along." As the Selnar patrol disappeared into FTL, Maya stared at their phantom armada with a mixture of pride and apprehension. They had succeeded in creating an illusion of strength, but maintaining that illusion against the full might of the Selnar would be infinitely more challenging. "How long can we keep this up?" Davis asked the question they were all thinking. "As long as we need to," Maya replied, her jaw set with determination. "The Selnar think they've been fighting all of humanity, but they've never seen what humans can really do when backed into a corner." Sato looked up from her console. "The drones can maintain position for about 72 hours before needing to return for recharging. The holographic projectors are stable, but they're drawing significant power. Then we have 3 days to make the Selnar believe we're the most fearsome fighting force they've ever encountered." Maya turned to her small crew. "Let's rewrite the narrative of this war." Word of the mysterious human fleet spread quickly through Selnar communication channels. Maya and her crew monitored the transmissions, adjusting their strategy as they learned how their deception was being interpreted. "They're calling us the Shadow Armada," Zhao reported with amusement. "Apparently, there are rumors that Earth was developing stealth technology that could mask an entire fleet." "A rumor we should encourage," Maya replied. "Dr. Keller, how would the Selnar leadership respond to this development?" Keller considered the question. "They'd be cautious. The Selnar evolved as a hierarchical species. Their commanders won't want to report failure to their superiors. They'll gather more forces before engaging us again, which gives us time to strengthen our deception." Maya nodded to Sato. "How many more drones can we modify?" "With the parts we have, maybe another 12. But it won't be enough if they bring their full fleet." "It doesn't need to be enough," Maya said. "We just need to create enough doubt to force them to the negotiating table." For the next 2 days, the crew worked in shifts, maintaining their phantom fleet while preparing for the inevitable confrontation. The holographic projections were refined to show damage and repairs, creating the impression of a living, functioning battle group. Zhao developed false communication chatter between the phantom ships, while Davis programmed more complex tactical maneuvers. They couldn't match the Selnar's numbers, but they could exploit their psychology, their fear of the unknown. On the 3rd day, their sensors detected a massive energy signature. "Selnar battle fleet incoming," Davis announced grimly. 15 warships, multiple support vessels. "This is it." Maya stood at the tactical display, watching as the Selnar force emerged from FTL. Their phantom fleet was outnumbered, but not overwhelmingly so. The deception still had a chance. "All hands to battle stations," she ordered. "Initiate contingency Omega. Let's show them what 5 humans and a bag of tricks can do against an empire." As the Selnar fleet approached, the crew of the Mirage prepared to execute the most audacious bluff in human history, a desperate gambit that would either save their species or consign it to extinction. When bluffs become legend, Fleet Commander Zex Terrell of the Selnar Collective studied the human formation with growing unease. According to all intelligence, the humans had been defeated, their fleets destroyed, their colonies subjugated. The conquest had been proceeding exactly as predicted until this mysterious armada appeared from nowhere. "Analysis confirms 29 vessels of various classes," his sensor officer reported. "Energy signatures match known human technology, but with modifications we haven't encountered before." Zex Terrell chittered thoughtfully, his mandibles clicking in the particular rhythm that indicated suspicion among his kind. The humans had proven resourceful opponents, but this development defied explanation. Have they made any aggressive moves? He asked. No, Commander. They maintain formation at the edge of the Vega corridor. They appear to be waiting. This troubled Zex Terrell more than any attack would have. The Xelnar understanding of humans categorized them as impulsive, emotional creatures who lacked the patience for strategic warfare. This disciplined, silent fleet contradicted everything they thought they knew. Aboard the Mirage, Maya and her crew monitored the Xelnar fleet's every move. Their phantom ships held position, the holographic projectors working at maximum capacity to maintain the illusion of a powerful battle group. They're scanning us again, Davis reported. More detailed this time. The drones are responding with the prepared sensor echoes, but I don't know how long they'll be convinced. We don't need long, Maya replied. Just long enough to make them doubt. She turned to Zhou. Open a channel to the Xelnar flagship. The communications specialist looked startled. Captain, direct communication could expose our deception. Or reinforce it. Maya's expression was resolute. Sometimes the boldest lie is the most convincing. Zhao hesitated, then nodded. Channel open. Maya straightened her uniform and faced the view screen. When the Xelnar commander appeared, an imposing figure with iridescent exoskeleton and compound eyes that reflected the light like fractured emeralds, she showed no fear. Fleet Commander, she began, her voice steady. I am Captain Maya Reed of the Earth Shadow Fleet. Your forces have engaged in unprovoked aggression against human worlds. We have remained hidden until now, observing your tactics and strategies. The Xelnar commander's antennae twitched with interest. Captain Reed, your appearance is unexpected. Our intelligence indicated no surviving human battle groups of this size. Your intelligence was deliberately missiled, Maya replied smoothly. Earth has maintained multiple reserve fleets beyond your sensor range. What you see before you is merely one division of our defensive capability. It was the bluff of a lifetime, delivered with such conviction that even her own crew almost believed it. The Xelnar commander studied her with unreadable compound eyes. If such forces existed, why allow your colonies to fall? He challenged. Strategic withdrawal. Maya answered without hesitation. We allowed you to extend your supply lines while gathering data on your capabilities. Now we are prepared to demonstrate the consequences of further aggression against humanity. As the conversation continued, Sedo frantically worked to maintain the holographic fleet. One of the projectors was beginning to overheat, causing a slight flicker in two of their phantom ships. Stabilize Grid 7, she whispered urgently to the ship's eye. Reroute power from secondary systems if necessary. The flickering stopped, but Sedo's console showed multiple systems approaching critical levels. Their deception couldn't be maintained much longer. Meanwhile, the Xelnar commander seemed increasingly uncertain. Your claims are significant, Captain Reed. Yet I find it curious that your fleet has taken no offensive action. We are not aggressors, Commander, Maya replied. Unlike the Xelnar, humans prefer diplomatic solutions when possible. I am authorized to offer terms for your immediate withdrawal from human space. It was at this precise moment that disaster struck. One of the drones malfunctioned, its emitter failing completely. On the tactical display, one of their Phantom heavy cruisers simply vanished. Davis muttered a curse, frantically trying to compensate, but the damage was done. The Xelnar commander's antennae shot upright, the equivalent of raised eyebrows. Interesting, he said, his tone changing subtly. It appears your formidable fleet may not be as substantial as it appears. Maya's mind raced. Their deception was unraveling, and with it, humanity's last hope. Then, an alert flashed on her console. An unauthorized shuttle was launching from the Mirage. What the hell? She hissed, glancing at Keller. The xenobiologist looked grim. It's the Xelnar spy we captured last week. He must have escaped containment. For a moment, Maya felt pure despair. The spy would reach the Xelnar fleet and expose their entire operation. Everything would be lost. Then, A strange calm settled over her. "Open a channel to the shuttle," she ordered. When the escaped spy appeared on screen, Maya addressed him directly, aware that the Selnar commander was still listening. "Agent Vexcor, your mission is confirmed. Transmit the prepared intelligence package as planned." The confused spy stared back at her, mandibles twitching in obvious bewilderment. Maya continued confidently, "Commander Zexterral, did you really believe we weren't aware of your infiltration attempt? Your agent has been providing us with disinformation about your fleet capabilities for weeks. His escape now is precisely according to our timetable." It was an outrageous improvisation, turning a catastrophic security breach into apparent strategic brilliance. The spy shuttle hung in space between the two fleets, its occupant clearly visible to both sides. In that crucial moment of confusion, Maya played her final card. "Commander, I suggest you scan the region approximately 2 light minutes from your current position. You might find it enlightening." There was no threat there, nothing but empty space, but the suggestion would force the Selnar to divide their attention, to question what else they might have missed. The Selnar commander's compound eyes gleamed with what might have been respect. "An interesting gambit, Captain. But I must wonder, if your fleet is as powerful as you claim, why resort to such elaborate deceptions?" Maya smiled thinly. "The same reason your people evolved as ambush predators, Commander. The most effective strategy is often the least expected." For several tense moments, the Selnar commander considered her words. Finally, he spoke. "I propose a temporary cessation of hostilities. Perhaps there is merit in exploring these diplomatic solutions you mentioned." It wasn't surrender. That Selnar would never admit defeat so readily, but it was an opening. A chance for humanity to negotiate from a position not of strength, but of mystery. After the communication ended, Maya's crew stared at her in disbelief. "Did that just work?" Davis asked incredulously. "For now," Maya replied, collapsing into her chair. "They're uncertain enough to pause, which gives Earth time to rebuild." Sato shook her head in amazement. 5 people, 1 ship, and a handful of drones just bluffed an empire into a ceasefire. In the months that followed, the legend of the Shadow Fleet grew far beyond what Maya and her crew could have imagined. The Selnar, unwilling to admit they had been deceived by such a small force, perpetuated the myth themselves. In their official reports, they claimed to have encountered a technologically superior human armada that used advanced stealth capabilities. The subsequent peace negotiations established boundaries between human and Selnar space, with both sides agreeing to non-aggression pacts. Earth began to rebuild, strengthened by the reputation of its Phantom Fleet. Maya Reed and her crew received the highest honors in secret, their true accomplishment known only to a select few. Officially, they were recognized for special reconnaissance operations, a deliberately vague commendation that revealed nothing of their unprecedented deception. Years later, when humanity had recovered enough to establish a true defense fleet, Maya was offered command of the flagship. She declined, preferring to return to the Mirage and its small, trusted crew. "The biggest ships aren't always the most effective," she explained to the puzzled Admiralty. "Sometimes all you need is enough smoke and mirrors to change how your enemy sees the battlefield." As the Mirage departed on its new mission, Maya looked at the stars stretching before them. Humanity had survived not through superior firepower or technology, but through the uniquely human talents for deception, improvisation, and audacity. 5 people, 1 ship, and the unwavering belief that sometimes the best weapon is the one that exists only in your enemy's imagination.